Happy Spiritual Sunday! We are now live all around the world. So, welcome and thank you for joining us from wherever you are in the world. We are here in sunny Boca, although it's a little cooler today than usual. And we are here to guide, inspire, share the wisdom of Kabbalah, and through that wisdom to change the entire world. So as we often do, I happen to pick up this book, Finding the Light Through the Darkness. I was asking Karen, our teacher, from the other world, to give us a little support through this world. So I open up to this chapter called Injecting Sharing into Your Life. And what the first thing I see? I will never forget a news story about a man who stopped to help two women whose car had a flat tire on a remote highway. Minutes after this Good Samaritan got back to his car and started driving, he had a heart attack. The women he had just helped were able to pull the car over, perform CPR, and save his life. There are so many ways to look at this miracle. The bottom line is that as a result of this man's effort to help two strangers, his life was saved. This incredible story reveals the power of being merciful and sharing. When, and that's key word, when we are part of something bigger than ourselves, we can actually rise above the things that hold us down. Heaviness, depression, procrastination, anger, and even death. Mercy is our umbilical cord to life. The acts of kindness we do for others activate the universe to produce mercy in return for us. So I would like that to be in our minds as we get going. Welcome to those of you around the world who are joining us from all over the world. And let's get started with our message today. So I know I posted on Facebook that we were going to talk about crime and punishment, etc., how you want to understand it. But after I was preparing that talk, I was so inspired by something I heard yesterday from Michael Berg that I wanted to bring out a whole new thing. Because that brought up various conversations between yesterday and today that I think are very important and very impactful and will help us have a grasp and a greater understanding of what's going on in the world today and what we can do about it. But like the Kabbalists teach us, the more we come to understand how the system works, and we can see how the system is working, not only in the world around us, but in our own personal lives, then we will tend to come to believe that system all the more. And in our terms, belief, meaning certainty, means we'll apply it to our life. There's no such thing as belief without action. There's no such thing Kabbalistically as certainty without action. There's no such thing really, even as we constantly affirm, consciousness is everything, but there's no real consciousness if there's not action following it. So I want to just remind you, for those of you who are new, please just listen, be open-minded, because it may seem like a very deep concept. And yet it's essential and foundational to everything that goes on in our life. So Rav Ashlag, basically the founder of the Kabbalah Center, who was the greatest Kabbalist probably in the last 500 years, so he taught us, as the Zohar and the great Kabbalists of past taught him, this world, our physical world, our physical universe, all the stars and the planets, the people, the plants, animals, everything. Everything in this world operates on a system, if you will, an operating system that started in the endless world. And therefore, from Kabbalah 1 forward, we understand the endless world and how we got here and what the purpose of life is, which we'll touch on a little reminder today. But by understanding that pattern, that thought of creation, if you will, and what went on before the physical world came into existence, we'll be able to see, one, why we see the good and the bad things we see in this world today, and we'll be able to understand ultimately why the world is in the shape it is right now. No matter where you are, no matter what part of the world you're in, no matter what strata of human being you are, we all have various forms of chaos, either personally, which I'm sure we all have some, but more importantly, the intensity of collective chaos going on around the world. So let's start like this. The physical world being patterned on the endless, what took place in the endless world? And who are we human beings, how do we show up? Because if we hold the concept that we are really all souls, that the true world, the world of truth is metaphysical, then even human beings in this flesh and blood body are patterned on things that occurred in the endless world, in the metaphysical world. So the Kabbalists explain, and we make it very clear from Kabbalah 1 forward, which, as you know, I often remind you at least once a year you need to go back and take Kabbalah 1 again, because we need to keep reminding ourselves of how we got here, what the pattern is, how we can see more clearly through all the chaos of this world to live the life that the Kabbalists offered us the technology to do, to have complete fulfillment. So let's just start briefly. Endless world. The Creator, which if you are new, we have no way. You can call it God, but that is a limited thought or a limited word compared to the real true essence of this infinite thing called the Creator. So the Creator had this force of absolute lasting total fulfillment called the light of God. We could say it that way, this light force. Now, in order to make that light manifest, in order to make it, if you will, shine in our understanding, not from the Creator's point of view, from our point of view, the Creator created a container, what we call a vessel, which is our soul. Our soul is a container. And then the Creator filled that one soul, that one infinite vessel, whose nature is desire to receive fulfillment from the light of the Creator, filled us with light. So we are souls filled with light. We come into this physical world, we take on physicality. There's no physicality in the endless world, but what's important to keep in mind is the inherent nature of a human being is desire to receive fulfillment. The only source of lasting fulfillment is the light of the Creator. So you and I have both. We are containers, desire to receive fulfillment, filled with the light, which gives us the ability to have total fulfillment. So we as human beings, remember, we are souls, we are vessels, we can be conduits, channels of the light of the Creator, and we already have the light of the Creator filling our soul. So we are lacking nothing. The only reason we came here is I want to get into a little more detail. And if you don't catch it the first time, it's a good thing the videos are available after we finish today. You can go back and listen again. So one of the fundamental Kabbalistic laws is called similarity of form. Similarity of form. What does that really mean? Like attracts like. Like attracts like. So if two things are similar, they are close. Not physically, but spiritually, metaphysically, they're close. Like the people that we tend to love the most or have the greatest connection with are the people who are the most like us. People who are not like us, we tend to not have such a strong connection with them. And this law, similarity of form, like attracts like, is the whole root of what we call cause and effect. Cause and effect. You set a cause in motion by your actions, and the universe will bring back the effect, because like will attract like. So an action of negativity, selfishness, ego-centered, self-benefit, that we call reactive, will bring back from the universe equally. So a person does an act of jealousy, jealousy will come back. They do an act of selfishness, selfishness, some form of chaotic selfishness will return. So now, if you're catching the idea, and I know I'm going a little quickly because I want to make the main point here, just go back and review your Kabbalah 1. The vessel being the desire to receive, the light being the desire to share. They are not of similar form. They are dissimilar, essentially opposite spiritually. So there was no, and again, this is all from our understanding. From the Creator's point of view, everything's done. The Creator created us, filled us with light, created an absolutely perfect universe. It's from our point of view, we can see discord, divisiveness, darkness, limitation, etc. And the whole wisdom that we're learning in the center is how to overcome that and reveal the perfection that the Creator created. So the light and the vessel are dissimilar. And therefore, all the light that's in our soul is not bringing us a sense, an experience of fulfillment. It gives us an inner sense we're supposed to have fulfillment, but it doesn't give us the experience. Like, you know that the food that somebody's making, your mom is making you a meal, and you already know how good it's going to taste, etc. You have sort of that sense of what it's going to be like. But do you yet experience the good taste of it? No, until you actually taste the food, until you reveal the energy of that food or the love of that food, you don't have the experience of that great meal. And so too, we are sitting here with a tremendous amount of potential, but it's our job to create a similarity of form with the Creator. Or as we usually say, to act like God. That's all we're here to do. We act like God, the light is revealed, all the blessings show up. So, simple question. Where does all the chaos come from? Where does all the negativity come from? If in the endless world, which is the basis and the source of everything in this world, and it's only perfection, how can we see chaos and negativity? And so this is what I wanted to get to. And this was what inspired me in a couple conversations based on what Michael Berg taught yesterday. So here's the idea. We come into this world, and we come to do what? Transform our nature. The whole point of this world is to transform our nature from the desire to receive, the vessel, to act like the light, act like God. Share light 24/7. Share light unconditionally. That's it. Not so complicated, is it? Somebody pushes your buttons, share light. Great things happen, share the light of those great things. Therefore, if you're always sharing light and you're never allowing yourself to be reactive, then you shine light 24/7, you experience light 24/7. The experience of all those blessings, the manifestation of all those blessings, health, peace, love, prosperity, protection, etc., is all ours, waiting for us to reveal it. So then, let's look at it this way. We came in this world, and without going into all the details, we created this thing we call the opponent, a spiritual parasite that essentially, by opposing our desire to share, because we're filled with light, we came to share, but by putting up a little opposition to that, it gives us free will, free choice. If there were no opponent, if there was no parasitic temporary thought in our head of just receiving for ourselves alone, there'd be no effort, and ultimately then no true sense of accomplishment or fulfillment by sharing all the time. We'd essentially have just been robots of the Creator, and so what? Then there was no purpose for us. So we have this opponent that's giving us free choice. Now, how does the free choice come in? One source, remember. Endless world, just one source. Infinite light. Our soul is the vessel, and our soul is one. There's one infinite vessel. There's no 7.5 billion vessels in the endless world. There's one light. There's no 2, 3, 4, 5, 20, 30, 50 gods. There's one light force of God. There's one vessel to make that manifest. This world, we can have the perception that there's fragmentation, separation, etc. But the truth is, there is not. So, one source, the endless world, but in this world, there are two paths that we can take based on that source. Two paths we can take. Right? So, the light, put your seatbelts on. The light is infinite. If the light is infinite, it cannot move anywhere. I want you to understand that. If the light is infinite, it cannot move. Where would it move? If there's no empty space, there's no place to move. Have you ever been in one of those of course, technically it's not complete, but you've been in a very crowded elevator and you feel you can't move because there's no space to move. So if the light is infinite, the light does not move. The light fills our soul. So inside of us, we have a basic sense of not moving, not having to move. But remember, we have that opponent, that spiritual parasite. So what does the opponent tell us? You don't have to move. Just sit and do nothing. Be lazy, sit around, don't push yourself, don't anything. You don't want to move. It's based on the truth that the light doesn't move. But our purpose in this world is to transcend and transform our vessel nature to light. Our purpose is transcending what the opponent tries to tell us, and even justified. The light doesn't move. Yes, you're filled with light. We are beings of light. Yes, that's also true. So then just sit and do nothing. Be like the light. Isn't that what Kabbalah tells you? Isn't that what you hear from Chaim on Sunday? Be like the light. Be like the light. So sit. Just do nothing. So you want to know where laziness and things like that come from? Yes, it's sourced in the idea that the light is infinite. But the opponent is telling us, no, you should forget why you came here. So the transcendence and the transformation is to move to do greater actions of sharing. Be more kind than you were yesterday. Be more generous than you were yesterday. More compassionate, more humble, more forgiving, more tolerant than you were yesterday. Then as you do that, greater and greater actions of transformation to turn your desire to receive into the action of sharing, because you want to reveal the light of the Creator. At the end of that point, at the end of that process, then you can have rest. And even along the way, as you share in greater levels, in troubled situations in your life, the light, cause and effect, similarity of form, will bring you back that sense of peace and, if you will, rest from the chaos that was. So we are meant to have that rest. We are meant spiritually not to be moving, but we've got to go through the process of being a vessel filled with light into acting like the light all the time, which is why you often hear people who are spiritual say, I'm here to be a channel. I just want to be a channel. What's a channel? It's a vessel. A pipe. The water pipes in your house are vessels. They contain the water. If there were no vessels, I mean, heaven forbid, a pipe breaks, well, the vessel shattered. What happens to the water? Great stuff, yes? No, floods the house. That's not good. You need that vessel to make it manifest in an experiential, useful way, if you're following. Now, here's another part of that. So, as we said, rest. Rest, right? If rest, everything is great, everything is wonderful. So you ever been on your way somewhere feeling at peace? Feel like the light. And then something happens. You're driving on the street and somebody cuts you off, somebody stops at the yellow light, whatever it may be. What happens? Suddenly you don't feel comfortable anymore. You don't feel that sense of peace and comfort that you did. So what does the opponent jump in? You should scream at them, be angry at them. They can't do that to you. What we call being reactive. Somehow be reactive, meaning desire to see oneself alone. Vessel nature, give me. But why do I want that comfort? Why do I want that sense of peace and harmony? Because that's what the light is. But again, we have to transcend the vessel nature. The opponent is there to enhance not only the vessel nature, but for myself alone. For myself alone. So we transcend. How do you transcend? You want to be angry at them? No. Pause. Send them light. Wish them well. Forgiveness, tolerance. Because if you think about it, do you really think that person who's in the car in front of you, who did whatever they did, you really think they turned around, they saw you, and they said, boy, I want to get you, so I'm going to stop at the yellow light, I'm going to go real slow, I'm going to block your path, etc. You really think they know you? Or they just happen to be there? But we act with the help of the opponent as it's personal. They're doing this to me. They know it's me and I'm on my way and I'm in a hurry and I've got to do this, I got to do that, and they're holding me back. So we react to take our comfort back. No, pause. Share the light of comfort. Share the light, again, of transcendence over the illusion, over what the opponent's telling us. And then as the light shines, it's made manifest. Try it. Experiment with it. You'll see your sense of stress and anxiety will start to dissipate. And then when you reach your destination, you're not angry and upset and tense, but you're more at peace. And then the rest of the day goes better. Because if you go to work stressed out from the drive, guarantee you're going to be more reactive and less tolerant and more upset with things at work. You arrive at work a little more peaceful, having transcended and grown spiritually on your way to work by transcending these difficult situations. You have a greater sense of peace. Things will go better. You have a greater sense of tolerance. Things don't bother you as much. Try it. Try it. it's a guarantee to work. Because these laws that we call Kabbalah, they're universal. They work for everybody, all the time, no exception. Yes, sorry. Those of you who think you're already so close to God, nobody else is, there's still no exception. No exemption to the rule. Okay, these are the rules. Let's go another one. What's the nature of the vessel? Desire to see fulfillment. What does the opponent do with that? Addictions. Compulsive addictive behaviors. Person addicted to drugs or alcohol or workaholics. Doesn't have to look bad, but a workaholic is the same addictive nature as an alcoholic. But what is an addiction? Give me. I have to have. I crave. Nothing going to stop me from having. Based on the vessel. The Creator gave us a complete, absolute craving for the fulfillment from the light. The opponent is telling us how to use it in a self-destructive way. But it's still based on the same thing. One source, two different possibilities. So then our job is what? Again, the pause. Start to have consciousness of our addictive behavior, self-centeredness to an extreme. And then just turn it around. What's transcendence? Doesn't mean stop wanting. The opposite in Kabbalah, what we teach in the Kabbalah Center, the opposite. Just tune your craving for fulfillment to the light of the Creator. Crave the light of the Creator as the source of lasting fulfillment like there's nothing else in the universe. Then, when things happen that pushed your triggers from before, touch those sore spots, you pause and you say, no, I crave the fulfillment of the light. So I'm going to act like the light in spite of what they said, in spite of what they did, in spite of what I see, what I feel going on around me. I'm going to act like the light because I crave, I'm addicted to the fulfillment from the light. Because that's what the Creator gave us in the endless world. Why do people steal? You're probably getting the pattern now, I hope. When a person's stealing, what do they want? They want to have abundance. They want to have good, right? So let's say they steal money. They want abundance. Why do they want abundance? Because the Creator put prosperity and abundance already in our soul for us to make manifest. The opponent is there to say, no, if you don't see your abundance, but you feel inside you're supposed to have it, just go steal it from people. So it's still based on the endless world. It's based on what the Creator created. It's just used in the wrong way. So what's transcendence and transformation? Instead of stealing the money, go, give it away, make donations, give charity, do tithing. Because then you're revealing all the abundance that the Creator gave you. But people, if you, in any of these, you hold on to it, you keep it for yourself, can't last. It either won't bring you blessings or it'll disappear. And I'm sure all of you have had those experiences, haven't you? Anybody here ever lost money? Anybody here ever had food spoil in the refrigerator? Ever dropped a bottle of cologne, perfume, or something like that, and you spent money on something that you got no benefit? Here it comes. Ever paid a parking ticket? Ever paid to fix up a car because there was a fender bender? So what blessing did you really get for that money? The car was perfect. Oh, there was a fender bender, so you made it perfect again. So basically you spent money for nothing. If you had been able to avoid that accident, then you didn't need to spend the money. But the universe will take that 10%. Person doesn't give it away. The law is it will be taken away. So transcendence, because the opponent's telling us, keep. I got to get the money. I got to get the person. I got to get this. I got to get that. Give me, give me, give me. It's good temporarily, and then it disappears. Then it goes away. So if you're getting the idea, the light is everything. The light has given us everything. We feel internally. But the opponent is here to make us think, no, take it for ourselves. I want and I have to have. So I'm going to hold on. Why? Hoarders. We've all heard of them, no? And maybe in some way we're all a little bit that way. Why do we hoard? Now you can understand it. What did the Creator give us? Everything. Everything. So there's no lack. So why do people hoard? Because the opponent says, oh, hold on to that, you may need it one day. Hold on to that, you may need it one day. Meaning they forgot that the light of the Creator is shining on us, already gave us everything. We have everything, we just have to make it manifest. But if we hold on to it, maybe in a year, how many people do you know who still have those clothes in their closet, because maybe they lost too much weight, or maybe they gained too much weight, right? So they got to keep the skinny clothes because one day they're going to need it again. Not that if they gave it away with an open heart, that it could show up again in some way, shape, or form because the source is the creator. No, but we got to hold on, hold on, hold on. Okay, you getting it? Are you getting it? So then I want to get to what we see today. And this was part of what inspired me Friday and Saturday. And I wanted to share this with you. What do we see in the world today? Remember, there are two paths. We're getting the idea there's one source. God is the only source of everything. So where's the chaos come from? Misuse of the light of God. It's not from God. Please do not misconstrue what I'm saying, that it means God is causing the negativity and God is anger and jealous and fear and death and all of destruction. No, no. We are, by the misuse, simple metaphor, simple understanding, analogy. Electricity, good or bad. Electricity is just power. So one source could be used two ways. It can be used to light the lights, turn on your air conditioner, run your refrigerator, all those good things, or it could be used in an electric chair. It's the same electricity. Is it the electricity's fault that it's being used for an electric chair? No. It's human beings. They can use it, we can use it, good or bad. One source, two paths. Two paths. So look at the world this last year. And yeah, I know we can go back years and years and years, but it seems more intense now than ever. You look at the world 2020, 2021, we see tremendous, it's worldwide divisiveness, worldwide pain and suffering, worldwide death and destruction, more than ever in history. So we have to ask ourselves, why? Where did it come from? Now you get the idea. Did it come from God? No. God only creates perfection. God created perfect human beings. God created a perfect universe. It's we who can mess it up. I mean, really, if human beings pour pollution in a lake, and the lake is polluted, and the water is poisonous, etc., can we really, in truth, say, well, look what God did? No. God created perfection. In that case, let's say perfectly pure water. It was human free will based on the desire for oneself alone, selfishness. Yes, because inside we feel the desire for fulfillment, but not in a selfish way. Fulfillment as the Creator did by sharing its light. Creator didn't keep its light for itself. We'd never be here. The Creator shared, because that's the only way that we can manifest all those blessings. So the desire for oneself alone, ego, selfishness, greed, etc., causes pollution, causes anger, jealousy, judgment, fear, insecurity, guilt, shame. It's all caused by our desire to receive for the self alone. Same source, it's one vessel, one source of light. It's just how we use it. So we're learning here in the center how to use it in the best way to bring the world into peace, harmony, and unity. Because those two sources, the light or the opponent, essentially create either unity or disunity. Similarity of form or dissimilarity of form. That's it. That's it. Sourced in the endless world where we are vessels filled with the light. So why do we see all the trouble? Why do people fight? Why is there hatred and violence and judgment and all this stuff going on in the world today? Blame people, victimization, all of it. Why? Have to go back to the endless world. Because in the endless world, the law is, and it's eternal law, similarity of form. Similarity of form. It's just becoming more obvious. I mean, we've all talked about it, I'm sure, somewhere in our life. Look at all of the religious hatred. You go back in history, there were, you pick a religion, there was a period in history where that religion, right, religious group was committing crimes against others. It just changes. So once it's the Jews, then it's the Christian, the Muslim, the Buddhist, and the Hindus, etc. It just rotates, but it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Same thing going on over and over and over. Why? And this was what struck me so powerfully, and I want to keep emphasizing so it sticks. Dissimilarity of form. but based on the opponent, based on the 1% physicality, 5 senses. You look at religion. We started with religion. So if you happen to be one religion and you're looking at somebody only externally, they're of a different religion, similar form or dissimilar form? Dissimilar. So the opponent gets in there and says, well, if you get rid of them, then everything will be hunky-dory, harmonious, because there'll be no more dissimilarities. You look at the color of a person's skin. Whichever way you look at it, the skin doesn't look the same. So, dissimilarity of form, push them away. Remember, similarity of form draws close, dissimilar pushes away. Satan, the opponent, gets in there and says, okay, well, they're of a different skin color, push them away, get rid of them, hate them, something. You push them away. Now, you're in your little bubble, selfish bubble, of maybe temporarily a little peace. Okay, got rid of those people who are not like me. Go right down the line. You could talk about race, language, religion, color, political affiliation, economic status, whatever you want to do. Pick. As long as a person's going to listen to their opponent, there'll always be something to hate or feel anger or judgment towards another person. Think about how many people, I don't know what they call them, but I will call them fashion snobs. They could both be wearing the latest, most expensive clothes, but from 2 different designers. So if you're only looking at the clothes, oh, how could they wear that? Right? And again, dissimilarity, push them away. So you got to criticize them, you got to be jealous of them, in some way create disunity. Not so difficult. So if we hold that consciousness, and it's going to go, like I told this one person in this conversation, so we both stood up. I'm taller than him. So, dissimilarity of form, right? I'm taller, he's shorter. So if we let the opponent get in there, so now he can judge me, I can judge him, we can have all kinds of animosity because I'm taller and he's shorter, or whatever. You can find something. I'll share with you, giving away a little bit here, but you remember the original Star Trek with William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy? So there was a very nice episode that fits this exactly. You know, as it went, of course, they're traveling through the universe on their 5-year mission, whatever it was, and 2 aliens. You know, they encounter these 2 aliens who are traveling the universe, fighting, seeking to kill the other. They are the only 2 people left from their planet that was destroyed. And what's the thing? You look at them, they're both divided half and half. One half black, one half white. But one is black on the left, the other is black on the right. And they're out fighting to kill each other. It's the last 2 people of their civilization. And when I came to Kabbalah, I started to use that in this way. Doesn't matter. You could say, okay, maybe the Jews, the Christians, the Muslims, there's an overt difference. Black, white, yellow, brown. It's kind of overt. You can see it very clearly, right? But then you go down. As long as there's an opponent, there's going to be some judgment, something that we can see different. Because the physical world is varied. It is diverse. But how many of you would want to look inside your body and say, oh my God, the heart is not the liver. The liver is not the lungs. I want to be the heart. Let's get rid of all the other organs. Anyone would be stupid enough to do that? They wouldn't live very long, would they? But there's a diversity. They are not the same, but they work in unity because they have one thing in common beyond their differences. They're part of the same human being. And therefore, for all to survive, they have to work together. What's the lesson for humanity? The same way. As we talked about, transcend and transform. And this is what the center's been teaching since Rav Ashlag started in 1922. All the Kabbalists have been teaching for thousands and thousands of years, all the way back to Moses on Mount Sinai, all the way back to the Garden of Eden. The same thing. We are one body of humanity. Yes, we are black and white and yellow and brown. We're Jewish, Christian, Muslim. We have all those, like the parts of the body. But if we want humanity to survive, we want to get rid of the divisiveness and the hatred and the discord, and we want everybody to have goodness, the peace and the blessings that the Creator gave us, that it's our work here to make manifest, then just like we said, we have to work together like all the parts of the body. How? What is the main thing the Kabbalah Center teaching us? Transcendence. Transformation over the 1% 5 cents world. Don't look at the color of their skin. Don't listen to the language they speak. Don't look at the house they live in or whatever. Look inside their soul. Is their soul the light of the Creator in a vessel the same as ours? Yes. Did we all come out of the endless world as one? Yes. And like we said with the light, if there's one infinite vessel, we have never, ever been separated because it's infinite. We have, with the help of our 5 senses and that opponent, we have the perception we're 7.5 billion different people. But the truth is, we've always been one soul. By acting like God, transcending the illusion of whatever the outside thing we look at, and looking inside, we see the light in their soul. Love your neighbor as yourself. I don't care what religion you learn. They say it's the ultimate. What does it mean in Kabbalistic terms? Think about it now. Do we have to love our neighbor as ourselves for God's benefit? No. God is perfectly blissed out eternally. The Creator, light. There's no darkness, no limitation in the light. We have to love our neighbor as ourself so that we will be united. That's what love means, unity. Be united with the soul of other people. Yes, inside that person you don't like at work, inside the person who broke your heart, inside the person that cheated you in a business deal, inside the people you don't agree with politically, economically, whatever it is, inside them is the light of God and a peace, a connected peace to your soul, to your vessel that the Creator created. Love your neighbor as yourself means a conscious awareness and an emanating of your light and a sharing transcendent of their outer behavior, connecting to the light of their soul so you stay connected to all your blessings. The moment we judge somebody and push them away because of anything on the external, we are cutting off a channel, a flow of our own light, of our own blessings. And you look at it over thousands of years, we have come to the point where we are now, where it's worldwide. But then at the same time as the Kabbalists teach us, as much as there's that discord, like Karen's book that I just read to you, based on a verse out of the Zohar, the light only comes out of darkness. Karen was very fond of saying, the darkest of night, just before the dawn. My friends, 2021, or the Kabbalistic year 5781, we are just before the dawn of peace and harmony. And that's frankly why the intensity of hatred and violence and all of that is happening now, because we are so close to the end that we are all being squeezed. One, to be able to be transcendent and see the Garden of Eden, see the heaven on earth, see beyond the 5 senses, and bring peace and harmony and unity to the world. That's our goal. That's our goal. So you want to get rid of the pain and suffering of the world? Let's remember we have only one enemy. Every human being on earth has only one enemy, this parasite we call Satan. And why do I call it a parasite? So we will naturally feel the desire to get rid of it. Even though it's played like it's our friend, even though it's impersonated our own voice, so we've come to believe it's us, even though it's pointing out how we have made mistakes, which we have, but that doesn't mean they can't be corrected. Everything can be. That we behaved in a negative way, but our purpose is transcendence, like we're talking about. It's not to stay stuck in that negativity. It's not to say that's who I really am. No, that's like we talk about, that's the mud I fell into. But if I wash off the mud, I'm back to my clean, perfect self. So the very nice story I want to kind of finish today with. This great Kabbalist came into a town that was very troubled. As a Kabbalist would do, they would receive divine inspiration to show up at different places. either to see very inspiring things from very simple people, or to be able to share and make transformation. So in this case, this great Kabbalist goes in this town where there's a very evil man. He just has joy, right, in harming other people, threatening other people. So of course, most of the people of the town, they're scared of him, not the Kabbalist. He comes into town, he just does what he needs to do, etc. And of course, he awakens the animosity of this evil man. So one day, the Kabbalist and his assistant are out walking on the road, and they start to hear, the beat of the horse running, coming at them. And they turn around and they see this evil man. He's on his horse and he's waving his sword. I'm coming to kill you. I'm coming to kill you. I'm going to come get you. That's it. So of course, the assistant of the Kabbalist, he runs and he's hiding behind the bushes. Get out of the way. The Kabbalist just standing, staring at the man coming. Staring, staring, staring. And the guy's coming closer and he's screaming louder and he's waving his sword. I'm going to kill you. I hate you. Blah, 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 blah. And he gets closer and closer, and the Kabbalist just staring at him. And he comes up a few feet, he jumps off his horse, he throws down the sword, he falls at the feet of the Kabbalist, and he begs forgiveness. Begs forgiveness. So the Kabbalist whispers in his ears whatever he needs to do, and he goes away. So the assistant of the Kabbalist comes out from behind the bush. He says, I don't get it. He says, I've been here in this town all this time. I've never seen such light. What did you do? He says, I just looked inside his soul and I awakened the light of God inside his soul. And therefore he had to ask forgiveness. He had to change himself. So what I would like to request of all of us, what I'd like to encourage you and hopefully inspire you to do, let's look at the pain and suffering that's in the world. Let's feel their pain as our pain. So it doesn't have to really be our pain. But let's start feel the pain as one soul of all the people out there who are in worse situations than we are. And probably many people in very worse situations. Feel the pain that their soul is not being revealed, that the blessings God gave them is not being revealed. And let's us unite. All of us, you are following us here on Sundays, all the students of the center, we will all unite and we will send so much light. We will love all humanity so powerfully that like this evil man, we will awaken the perfection that God put inside. We will draw it out into manifestation so that we will get the hell out of this world and we will replace it with heaven on earth that is right within our grasp. This is the last piece we need to do to re-enter the Garden of Eden that we were thrown out of, as the story tells us, which didn't mean the garden was destroyed. We were thrown out. The ticket to get back in, love your neighbor as yourself, take away the divisiveness, take away the fragmentation, bring love and unity, that we can all live once again in the Garden of Eden and have eternal bliss. God bless. So let me do this. So this is the time of our offering. We can only do what you will support us in doing. And I'd like to thank you, all of you online, those of you here who have been constant support to the center. Because even here, and I must be honest, we have to pay the bills just to open the doors here. So if those of you who are physically here, if you open your heart and help us just to pay the bills that allow you to be here, those of you online also to be there for you, but also more importantly, we want to remove the pain and suffering. So if you think about it, the power of the Zohar that shines light, as we're all using the Zohar more powerfully, more intensively, we are awakening the souls faster, getting rid of the pain and suffering before it has to be any worse than it is already, and in fact, turn the tide the other way. So this is why we always take this moment now, just to have a few moments of consciousness. Inject in your gift, and I put on the chat here, those of you who are following online. I thought I did. Yes. So you can just do the meditation with us and then go online and make your gift, your donation to the center. And again, thank you and bless you, and may it come back to you 100 times over. So just remembering, this money, this donation, it is a vessel. And what it will send out to the world through the projects of the center, and therefore what it will bring back to you. is determined by the energy that you put in. So let's unite together, that even what we put in individually will be enhanced exponentially in this power of unity. And so in unity, let's inject love and light and gratitude and blessings for all that the Creator has given us, and even have appreciation for the challenges that we've gone through or may be going through. As we learn more, as we understand more, we can embrace those challenges. We can use the tools and the wisdom we're learning here to transform the chaos to order, the darkness to light, the pain to peace, harmony, and serenity. And so, giving thanks for all that the Creator's given us, we send this gift out through the projects of the center to reach all 7.5 billion people to just wake up their soul. Let the soul and the programming that God put in their soul determine how, in which way they behave with greater love, kind, and compassion, that their path is the path of the light in the highest and the best way for them, for us, for all humanity. And we send this gift out as channels of the light, knowing that as more we share, as we let flow all the blessings the Creator's given us, then the reservoir, our pure and perfect self, will be able to give us and manifest more and more of those blessings. And together we say, Amen. So just quickly, I had a couple questions that were brought up. One is somebody asked me if I would share miracles. And of course, I'm always sharing miracles of the Zohar, etc. But what came to mind right away, and some of you who are new, you can look back on the history. Some of you have been around, I guess it'd have to be at least 16, 17, 18 years now. So for me, probably the most powerful miracle that I've seen was when in 2004, Rav Berg, my teacher, he had a stroke. Right? I mean, there are many, many miracles, but this stands out because it's so clear. For years, since 1962, the Rav started learning with his teacher, Rabbi Brandwein. 1969, when Rav Brandwein left the world, the Rav and Karen took over the center and brought this wisdom to the masses. So the Rav is always teaching immortality, consciousness is everything, the power of the Zohar, etc. But not everybody still believed, had that certainty to help speed up the process. So 2004, basically, I believe, well, the Rav had a stroke. I believe that the Rav allowed himself to embrace the idea of having a stroke because he had a massive stroke. Virtually half the brain just went to mush. And for just under 24 hours, the Rav was in a coma. But within 24 hours, the Rav woke up out of the coma. The Rav was conscious, coherent, was able to do the blessing on the wine on Shabbat, was able to shortly thereafter actually get up and operate for the next 9 years until the Rav decided he needed to leave the world. That's another story, to push Karen out front and center, because that was her truly God-given position in this world. And within 24 hours, doctors still befuddled by how that could happen. The Rav was in his late 70s at that point. How does a man in his 70s with half the brain mush walk, talk, be coherent, and continue to live basically a similar life, right, for 9 more years? So for me, that's one of the greatest, because it showed immortality in 24 hours in our own mind. Meaning we could read the Bible. We don't always believe the stories of the Bible, manna from heaven, the splitting of the Red Sea, etc. But when in 2004 we could see with our own eyes, backed up by all of the science and the medical information, that this was literally a miracle. But the Rav said very clearly, it's the power of the Zohar, it's the power of Kabbalah, and living this technology. So I can go on with others and others, but I just wanted to share, again, coincidentally, which just means two things happening together. It doesn't mean that it's random. So somebody had sent this in, and I hadn't seen it. So on Friday, I was dealing with my technological limitations, and I came upon this comment on one of the videos that I put on YouTube. So those of you here on Facebook, if you have friends that don't go on Facebook, go on the Spiritual Sunday, Chaim Solomon Spiritual Sunday YouTube channel, and I have quite a number of these Sunday videos. So she writes like this, because I was mentioning about the Zohar in this class. I found the Zohar in a used bookstore in Flagstaff, Arizona, a day or two before I went back to work as a hospice nurse in Paradise, California. That was the same day that the PG&E campfire, if you remember what happened over there, right? So it's a year or so ago, burned my house, cats, and the entire livelihood down. That was just a few weeks after I told my husband I wanted a divorce. When I found the Zohar a day or two before, I held it close to my chest like it was a newborn baby of mine. I told it that I loved it and held it tightly. I felt the love of it. I didn't know what it was, but had certainty that it was magical. It had the Kabbalah Center scanning instructions for a year, outdated, but I was determined to figure out what it was for. I brought the book with me to work that morning and put it in the back of my car. I was hoping to have time to look at the Zohar and learn more about it during my break that day. 5 hours later, I evacuated my only patient that day from the fire. If you remember the fires that were all over California, especially in Northern California, Paradise in that area basically burned down. My only patient that day from the fire into another nurse's cars, and then escaped myself with the Zohar in my car. I drove through flames as tall as the tallest pine trees in Northern California, that Northern California has, and I survived. I had the joy of having the Zohar with me through this experience. My journey is so exciting. The Zohar is everything to me. I'm forever grateful for everyone that contributed to the writing, the one that I have. It's my magic. It's everything. I love it, and it's available to anyone that is ready to touch it, to open it, to feel it, and hear through intuition and thoughts, thorough messages, and instant knowing. I know this, but I still need a lot of guidance from the Kabbalists of those at the Kabbalah Center to one place or another to get through this. Without studying in constant classes that I'm taking, I'd be lost in my head, I think. I am so eternally grateful to the Kabbalah Center and its production of the scanning handout I found in the Zohar, the people behind the writing of the Zohar, the printing of the Zohar, the Kabbalists that have walked this path, studied it, lived it, and are sharing the wisdom with others. I'm so grateful. Thank you. So, yes. And those things keep repeating over and over and over again. Those of you who are out there listening, if you've had a miracle or some transformational situation by something you learned or the Zohar itself, please send them to me like this. Very inspirational for new people because, and then we'll end with this, but you look back and you say, okay, well, if it's in Hebrew and Aramaic, then it must be Jewish. Well, today we already wiped that out, and we've been wiping that out, right? But people have that thought. So if you start to hear stories from Christians and Muslims and Buddhists and atheists and Hindus and everybody but Jews, let's say, not that the Jews shouldn't be sending also the miracles, but you know what I'm saying? When you start to hear it all, at some point, Satan can't keep telling us, well, it's really a Jewish thing. It's really a Jewish thing. Not when you have so many miracles from so many people from all parts of the world, all around the Zohar, which simply says of itself, comes from the endless world, therefore, it is basically the only tool that can help us get back to the endless world and connect, as we said today, to that one soul and that infinite light that is the common factor in every human being on earth. Have a great week. God bless you all. Thank you for your support, your help in sharing these videos and letting other people know that we are here and helping them even to come on to Kabbalah.com and learn. Have an amazing week, and I look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.